Broadcasting live from SHRM 2022 at the New Orleans Convention Center, it's time for Workplace MVP, brought to you by R3 Continuum, a global leader in helping workplaces thrive during disruptive times. Now, here's your host.
Hi, everyone. Your host, Jamie Gassmann, here coming to you from SHRM 2022's exhibit hall in R3 Continuum, our show sponsor's booth. And joining me is, again, for the third time on my show, I must be doing something right as a host, is Josh Rock.
Hey, Jamie. It's my hat trick appearance. This is now the third time I'm on your show. Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a classic for a Minnesotan to bring a hockey terminology onto the show. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
Way to go.
Exactly. Hockey follows me everywhere I go.
It was an amazing slap shot.
Yes. Slap shot from the point. No one-timers, just classic bar down.
Yeah, I'll just make sure to keep my questions on point so you don't check me into the boards or something, all right?
If I do, John's going to call me 2 minutes for slashing or something, I would assume.
Oh, I think it needs to be a harder penalty than that.
Yeah, okay, fine. 5-minute game misconduct, apparently.
All right, well, now that we've got our hockey terminology all
Sure.
spit out, let's talk about HR.
Let's do it.
We're here at SHRM.
Yes.
So what's going on in the SHRM world right now?
So I am one of, I think, 15 or 20 SHRM influencers. SHRM invites us down to come down and blog about the conference leading up to the event, the speakers, the vendors, meet with different attendee groups, that kind of fun stuff, and just help generate content, share, network, all that kind of fun stuff throughout the event. It's a blast. I mean, I'm going to be here anyway, so why not do it to benefit the organization and the profession as a whole?
Yeah, you're like spreading the information around about what's going on in the HR world and kind of building a community is kind of how I see it, and it's amazing.
I'm like a Kardashian of HR.
Ooh. Which Kardashian would you be if you could be a Kardashian, Josh?
To be honest, I have no idea. I don't know who any of them are or what they stand for. I'm sure they're all great, but I'll plead the fifth on that one.
It's a good call.
Yeah.
Good call. You could pick a different family. It could be like the Godfather or something of HR. There you go.
Have you watched The Offer yet?
No.
Oh, okay. So you got to go on and start watching The Offer. It's like the background story to the making of The Godfather.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, well,
So
now
there's-
you just added something to my list.
For all your listeners, that's the tidbit piece. Start watching The Offer on, I think it's like Prime or Paramount or one of those.
Yeah, it's
streaming
on one of the
services.
streaming
Yes,
services.
The Offer.
Awesome. So let's talk HR for a moment.
Yes.
Now that we've got all of our Netflix shows out of the way and our hockey
I can come up with more if you want.
My goodness, this is why it's so fun to interview you. We always just have such great conversation. But what are some of the hot topics right now that you guys are seeing in the HR space that have to be discussed?
Okay, can we not talk about the overplayed normal stuff that we've been talking about forever?
Sure, you can talk about whatever you want.
Okay, good. Well, usually when it comes to me in my world, it's all about talent engagement. As a talent acquisition manager for another fantastic Minnesota company, like you guys, I work with Nuss Truck and Equipment. For me, it's talent engagement. And finding better ways to get talent where they are. And make them better for my organization. And then through that, deliver great career and financial opportunities for them and their families.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at, content that helps me do that better, and then share it with the masses out on social media. But then also looking at vendors who can make my life easier from that perspective. And then through that, make that easier for the people that I hire in the organization. So for me, it's singular focused. Other folks are here, generating buzz about things like FMLA, benefits, just those yawning conversations. It's just not my jam. But for them, great. They can get buzzed about whatever they're excited about.
For some of them, it's by necessity. It's a painful topic to sit through. But
Yeah. I mean, some people are, packing a session somewhere here on legislative affairs. Great. I did politics back in the day, but I mean, if I need my nap time, you'll find me there.
Wow. But it's interesting. I interviewed somebody yesterday, and she had a very interesting approach to recruitment with the staffing. She had a business card with all the details of the job on it.
Sure.
Now, they were hiring for HR positions, so here this makes sense.
That's 16,000 targeted audience members.
Right, yeah. So have you had to get creative? I know you have some great strategies and approaches that you use, like with military and tapping into some areas that maybe other workplaces haven't really leveraged. What are some of the approaches that you've done or that you've seen with some of the staffing changes that we've been experiencing?
So for Nuss, one of the things that we've done, you mentioned veterans hiring. Nuss makes it a point to not only recruit and hire our active and retired military personnel, but then work really hard to retain them. Their lives change. And so it's upon us and the HR team to make sure that they get what they need, not only from the career and the financial aspects, but then also the full spectrum of support. And right now we're sitting above 11% of our staff is either active or retired military. We talked about last time, we received a platinum award from the Department of Labor, only one of 2 companies in Minnesota to get that. We are poised to get that platinum award again this year. So we're super excited about that. We're going to military bases across the country and engaging where they are and what they're looking for in their part-time military or, then civilian careers. Actually, my boss is at Fort Hood right now doing a recruiting event. I'll be at Fort Bliss coming up. So doing those types of things to not only hire the military, but also their spouses or significant others, because they're looking for careers as well. If I can't hire them at Nuss and I'm bringing on one of their family members, I'm going to connect them with people in my network that are around the area and find them in that industry. So it's full spectrum. Add to that the educational component. We're going out and speaking not only to students at schools across the country, we're talking to their directors, their curriculum folks about what we're looking for from an industry perspective, and then giving them keys to the kingdom. What are we finding that's most successful for the people that we're hiring, and then helping them draw that curriculum out. One of the steps that we've done and taken in with a couple is turning what is a 2-year program at some schools across the country and making it a 1-year.
Oh, nice.
So instead of going part-time, in this program, they're going full-time in the program. Mm-hmm. So that's 8 to 6 or 7 o'clock at night. They don't have time to have usually another job and then doing their studies or whatnot afterwards. It's a intensive program. But in 11 months, they will have the same education, lab hours, and come out with their CDL, which is hugely vital in transportation, in 1 year. Yeah. So they're going to spend half the money in the program that a 2-year program would do, and they're graduating in half the time.
Wow.
That's a huge infusion to the industry.
Yeah, absolutely, especially right now.
It is.
And you're tapping into a market that, for some, maybe aren't quite sure where they're going to go once they get out of the military. They don't really...
Well, and if you wait too long, if you diffuse a program, they're going to change their decision. They're going to change their majors. They're going to get bored, or the energy, the excitement, just because the curriculum doesn't do that. It doesn't engage them. And so if we can do that, we can keep that engagement in one smaller group, we're going to get such a more robust audience potential. Yeah. It's working out really well.
Yeah. So now I know you're in the trucking area.
Yes.
So can other industries do this?
Totally. Yeah. You can do it in healthcare. I mean, you can start by going into the high schools and getting your, sophomores and juniors and seniors, getting them through a CNA program for those kids that want to get into healthcare. Because as a recruiter, one of the greatest things that I see is I see all of these students that are graduating with the book smarts, but they don't have the patient care. And so if we start earlier by getting them part-time jobs as a CNA, working in those senior care facilities or home care organizations, they get the patient care element, and then they get the book smarts, the education to do the job. Now they have the 1-2 punch that most 4-year graduates don't have, because they went the one track, not the second track.
Yeah.
So that's one that I'm seeing a huge win in some more progressive healthcare organizations, finding ways to build that workplace potential, that upcoming workforce earlier in the process, and then thus getting those folks a lot sooner. Yeah. It works out well.
That's some really great advice. And we think we could talk all day.
We could.
Yeah.
We would need more coffee.
We would need more coffee.
Do you have your Starbucks delivery guy coming anytime soon?
I should.
You should.
Honestly, because I am out of coffee.
Don't you have a hotline button on your phone for that?
That needs to be invented.
I'm calling dibs on that. I'm calling dibs on the Josh Rock Coffee Delivery Company.
I'll be your first client.
Yes, you'll be first and dedicated.
I would like a venti. Oh, large. Sorry, yes. You don't like that term.
Venti is a made-up term. I mean, come on now. Don't get me started on the whole Starbucks Caribou debacle and size. No. I mean, I could go the whole Paul Rudd piece, but I won't.
Oh, my goodness. We'll have to check out that
Yes.
piece after the
Yes.
show. Awesome. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on again.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
We'll talk
I
again
just know
soon.
that you're a really busy guy, and I want to make sure that we save you time to be.
Oh, we're not going to go too long before we're going to do this again.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I look
Yeah.
forward to seeing you. Have fun at SHRM. We'll see you back in Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Take
Sounds
care.
good. All right.
Thank you for joining us on Workplace MVP. R3 Continuum is a proud sponsor of this show and is delighted to celebrate most valuable professionals who work diligently to secure safe workplaces where employees can thrive.